So you've been in the music business for like 20 years. And I could say that you are the most famous Italian metal band worldwide. How does that feel for you to be the most known band in your country worldwide?
It feels great, very rewarding on one side, and it feels frustrating on the other side because to know that in so long, only few bands with us made it, like Flesh God Apocalypse right now, for example, it's strange because there are so many, good musicians and bands as well ready to come out. But for some reasons, it's very difficult for Italian bands just to make it bigger and bigger. On our side, it is, of course, amazing. We would have never think 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, that our career would have lasted so long because it was already surreal for us, to be part of the music world. And we're really happy about, our career, where we're at. We feel stronger and more motivated than ever.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's been beyond every expectation when we signed the deal back in '96 with our demo. We thought maybe we do a couple of European tours, maybe a couple of records, but we never thought that we could actually become one of the most successful band in the scene, but also in the label and doing this kind of touring worldwide. So everything has been totally unexpected. And I think it's a bit of a shame, as she said, that Italy has not been able to develop more bands than just us. I think the problem is the structure of the music business in Italy that doesn't really care much about this type of music, while there are listeners, because when bands like Iron Maiden or Rammstein or Linkin Park or other bands were coming, Metallica, a lot of people goes to see them. So there is interest around metal in Italy as much as there is everywhere else. But the problem is that nationally there's never been a lot of work towards letting the new generation discover this music instead of just leave them with the commercial music that you normally have. Now it's the time for trap music in Italy. Before it was the traditional or the dance music, but never enough space for the rock and metal. Even a national sing in Italian is still kind of lacking, that aspect. So hopefully it's gonna be better. I think slowly also for us it's getting better and better every time we release an album. Also in Italy we get more tours, we get more attention from the mainstream, but still it's kind of a unique example. There's not enough to build a scene, to build a story like here in Germany, for example, where you have since the 80s you got the Scorpions, you got Creator, you got Rammstein, you got a lot of bands that made careers for a long time, and that makes a tradition of German metal or rock bands becoming successful in Germany and outside of Germany.
Sometimes they don't even, sometimes fans or whoever listens to LACUNA COIL don't even believe that we're Italians. I remember for years they've been asking us, where are you coming from? And we said, we're Italians. Oh, you come from Jersey. Oh, no, we're Italians. Oh, how long did you drive to come here? Well, what? In the States, it was no, we didn't cross the ocean. We are Italians from Italy.
Okay. So the album number 9 is going to come out, and the name is Black Anima. What is it about? So what's the difference from the other albums, and does it have one main theme?
It is not a concept record as you would think of a concept record in terms of not every song is connected to each other. There is not a story going through all the songs. But at the same time, we like the old school thing of having a full record that tells you something. We thought about so many things around Black Anima. We put everything together. I remember that we had a huge brainstorming meeting, the band, and also, with a friend of ours who's an A&R as well, because we wanted to show him our ideas. And I remember a lot of pictures on the table, all the cell phones out, showing pictures and photographers and drawings and images to capture the essence of Black Anima. So we decided to come up with something visual as well to bring out together with the music. And we came up with this idea of this book that was collecting all the thoughts of the souls of the loved ones and the spirits that were surrounding us. And that could be seen in different ways. The people that we lost along the way, even during the recording, unfortunately. And And also we wanted to talk about the realization of the fact that it's really important to leave the moment, not to look too much into the past and not really looking at the future as well, but just like leave the moment as it is, because the time we have is limited and we have to take the best out of whatever we have now. Beside that, we also worked on the logo that you see on the cover, which is the emblem for Black Anima. So we've been inspired by that from the emblem of Milano. That was originally, of course, different, you know, with a snake eating a kid. Beware. Welcome to Milano. And Marco, our bass player, is really good with drawings and sketching stuff and graphic. Remade it and recreated this dragon with an angel in his mouth. And also this figure of the angel came up. I remember that we brainstormed around this because Andrea told us about a book that he was reading called The Physics of Angel, which was a conversation in between a very religious person, a theologist, and a scientist. They were talking about the figure of the angel, why people need to believe in someone that is theoretically protecting you. So it was a combination of so many things, and now it's hard to condense everything in a few minutes. But for us, it was just like a lot of brainstorming, a lot of ideas, a lot of inputs, even beside the music, because for us, the visual part was very important as well. So we started to think about the costumes and the sonographies and the booklet, the artwork. We thought about the artists that we were going to have on board, from photographers for the official photo shoot, from the artists. So we contacted Mika Ulrich to design the tarot cards that are going to be, you know, in one of the special editions. It was a lot of work, but I'm happy that we did everything, because that made it clear to us that it was going to be like that Black Anima was going to be that. I talked a lot. I talked a lot.
That's good. You have answered now 5 questions, which I had, so perfect. You also have like small sentences of Italian on the album.
Latin.
Yeah, Latin.
Yeah.
It's Latin.
Yeah.
So how did that come?
Do you want to answer because I talk too much?
No, there's both actually, because there's the first intro to the album called Anima
that has a
Nera,
part as well.
which the ending is says Anima Nera, which is the meaning of Black Anima basically, and dark soul if you translate it, and then there is the part in Latin for the song Beneficium, which is basically was a part that in the melody is sounded almost like a Gregorian choir / to some classical epic part, and so she thought that was a good idea to maybe do it in Latin, because it's the origin of our language, and those type of vocals usually are in Latin anyway, so it makes more impact to be in Latin and to be a little different but still connected to our roots, you know. And then so that song is probably one of the most particular songs, because it starts really heavy and epic with this Latin part, and then it goes more into a doomy, atmospherical, dark kind of song. And it's a very long song, so we with a lot of parts, so we kind of wanted the song to be special and don't worry too much about having to be a single or something catchy at the first time you listen to. Is more of a trip that goes into a story and develops the story, and then goes to a more dramatic part. So it's more of a almost like a little opera in one song, you know. And it's probably the most diverse song you'll have in the album.
So could you say it's your favorite song of the album, or what are your favorite songs?
Maybe not my favorite, but one of the most particular songs for sure. And I think it's also the songs that brings back more of the vibe we had in the very previous records, like In a Reverie or Unleash Memories. Not so much the music maybe, but the vibe, the darkness within the song. It's in that song, maybe it's the one that represents more the connection to our past. And in terms of, I like a lot of different songs in the record. I like Layers of Time, the song that we brought out first, because it's heavy, but it's rhythmical, but it also has a very melodic, melancholic, epic part. So it portrays a bit of all the aspects in the record. And then I like The End Is All I Can See, because it's a very intimate more reflective kind of song and very attached to the lyrics. So it's a trip, you know. We really built a record with an intro, an outro, and movements inside. You know, some songs are bringing the heaviness, the fast beats, the rhythmical parts, and some songs are more the catchy grooves. Some others are more the trippy parts. So I think it's a good record to listen in the entire. It's not. It's also kind of quick. It's only I think 45 minutes. So it's a very quick trip, let's say.
A good trip.
Good trip.
Yes. Yes, the only thing that I can add is that going back to the Latin part, it was a pain in the ass because Latin is not easy. When we did it first, we liked the sound of it, but we had to struggle for the words because I remember that I asked to a friend of mine for to help me with the lyrics because I mean I don't know Latin. I mean I love it as a language, but I don't speak it. So we had to ask to another person, you know, to help him out with this, and then they asked it to a whole group of people studying Latin, and I remember that we sent so many like messages back and forth to find the final result. Beside that, because I was thinking about this, Andrea is right, as I said, for us it was very important to have a very dynamic record with diverse songs that could give you different feelings. All permeated by this dark and sometimes awkward and uncomfortable vibe all over. And we're extremely happy of this record. A lot of people told us that it's the best record that we've ever done, and I might agree to that.
Are you nervous about performing the new songs? I mean, because you have like a really deep voice when you talk, but you sing very high. So are there songs where you're nervous, where you're thinking about, hopefully I'm going to get it right?
Yes. So some of the songs are like very high, but I'm always I always feel weird to play something new because when you play songs live and you play them for so many times, you kind of adjust yourself. Even the movements are following, you know, the songs. So every time we play a song for the first time is always weird. No matter how many times we rehearse it, no matter the fact that we wrote it and we sung it, it's always weird. Now we played Layers of Time a few times, and I remember that the first time I was like, oh my God, I'm doing something new. So the feeling is always weird, not really because we don't think that we're gonna play it or sing it right, but just because it's something new.
Yeah, also when you, for example, Layers of Time, we did the video, so the very first time we kind of performed the song was for the video, even before we played it live, you know, because the video is, you never practice for the video, you know. So you are there and you have to move and play back to the song, but you're not used to move on that song, you know, because you never played it live. So it's way before you're gonna play it live. So that's probably the most awkward moment, is when you have to perform it for the video and find a movement that looks good on TV, but they also fit the speed and the rhythm of the song, and then you have to remember the words to play back. So that's probably the most awkward time you gotta play the song.
Andrea, you changed your vocal style quite a few times on the different albums. Are you going to? I mean, I heard it, but not everyone heard it. So, do you scream or do you sing more clear?
There's more harsh vocals on this record for sure, and most of the songs are powerful. And we decided to follow the music. The music was coming heavy and very rhythmical, so we thought that the heavy voice was making sense with this kind of songs, and it was making also probably the music being a little bit more extreme. It also accentuated the contrast between the two voices as well, you know. So it needed to be more of the brutal part and then more of the epic part from her, you know. So I think it's just the music that kind of drive us towards that direction. But I feel comfortable doing this because I like singing powerful. I always did. Maybe not so much on some of the previous record because the music was going somewhere else. So it wasn't the right thing to do. But since Delirium, the previous record, we have experimented and we've pushed a little bit on the heaviness. and we realized that nobody is afraid of girl vocals in 2019, you know. So if it fits the music and if it's the right thing for the music, why try to mellow it down? You know, we already have a chorus where it's going to be epic and melodic, so we don't need all the songs to be like that, you know. So if it fits the music, just follow it and just do it, you know. And I like also to, when I do the harsh vocals, I like to be the words still to be very clear, you know. It's not properly a death metal kind of voice, it's not a black metal kind of voice, it's more of a powerful voice in terms of, like, for example, Max Cavalera from Sepultura or Burton from Fear Factory. Those are the kind of, or Phil Anselmo from Pantera. Those are the kind of powerful voice that I like, that are very distorted but still clear enough to give the message, you know.
You have been one of the first female-fronted bands in metal, when not the first one. So you have always had to hang out with guys on festivals. Like, how was that before the Me Too thing? Did you have bad experiences just hang out with guys all the time?
No, to be honest, no. I always felt part of the group. I never looked at myself as a female member, so I never, you know, meant to be or expected to be treated differently, because I was, well, of course, I was always treated with respect, because I always how can I say, I was always respectful with others, expecting respect as well. So I think it was a mutual thing that happened this way, and I never had any type of problem. And I'm kind of a tomboy in the way that for this kind of living, you have to be not a girly girl, because of the, you know, tour buses and the traveling, and sometimes, you know, you can't take a shower every day, so you have to be done for this job.
So it's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll, but it's more like arguing about you could take a shower, stop farting.
Dressing rooms may be extremely boring, you know. I think that things changed a little bit from the 80s and the 90s. For sure, there might be, you know, some wild parties at times, but for sure not every day.
Yeah. You have been to lots of festivals, played with lots of famous bands. Do you still have bands on your bucket list you haven't played with?
I think the dream band we did, we've done it. Like, we've done the tour with Typo Negative. That was always our favorite band when we started the band, and so that tour was the dream tour when we started as a band. You know, maybe also Paradise Lost was one of the bands we were really looking up to, and we did both. We did the tour with Paradise Lost. We did the tour with Typo Negative. So in terms of the youth, the way we grow up, the bands we grow up to, we did what we wanted to do, for sure, you know. Then there is always a lot of other bands you would like we never toured with Metallica, and that would be great, obviously, but I mean,
Rammstein, Korn. I mean, there are a lot of bands that we like and we kind of played with at festivals, but it would be interesting, like, to do more shows together so we can enjoy their shows as well.
So how was that in the beginning, when you were a little Italian band and then got on tour in the US with, like, really, like, idols of yours?
It was very weird. I remember that the first day with Typo Negative, we were already excited because, I mean, we were going, you know, on tour with our favorite band. So we didn't know what to expect. And we were in the dressing room and Peter Steele came in to say hi. And, you know, hi, welcome on tour. I'm really glad that you guys are here. And we were totally starstruck and amazing guys. It was one of the best tours we've ever done.
So you've released a book for your 20th birthday. What's in that book? What is it about?
A lot of pictures and basically our story. So from each one of us perspective, you will know how we started up until today. And it was not an easy task to find out a lot of memories, especially from the very beginning, because of course from the latest period we have a lot of pictures, a lot of videos, a lot of collected stuff. But in the beginning there was no cell phone, you know, to take picture with, or internet to search things. So we luckily collected, because we were at the beginning of our career, we kept a lot of posters and flyers and a lot of old things. And it was nice, you know, to go back and think about everything we did. We forgot so many so many things that came up to the surface with this. It's really nice, and it's a beautiful book because there are a lot of pictures as well. So it's beautiful to watch as well.
And you've had a show for your 20th birthday in London. Why did you do it in London and not in Milan?
Because London, first of all, the logistics was easier for everybody because we got people from all over the world coming to the show, from South America, from Russia, from Australia. Some people flew from America. So London is more of a central place for everybody to reach and to be comfortable with. And also London is always been one of the very early places to embrace our music, and the show in London is always one of the most special for us. And also the circus that we worked with that perform on the show, they're from Bristol, from the UK, so it was also easier for them and for us to go with them and practice and then bring them to London and do the show. So it was a combination of things, the company who filmed the DVD for the show for the DVD is also based in London, so it was also economics and logistics and a series of reasons why it was just easier to make it there, and it worked out pretty great. So I think it was the right decision. And do that show has been a lot of work because we started pre-producing 6 months earlier.
Wow.
Between talking to the circus, finding an agreement, the DVD people finding an agreement, and then find the right location where we could build the structure for the circus to perform, where we could have the fire, where the filming was possible with different angles, and then parking the tour bus in front. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to think to produce that work, and then we started with 80 songs and then shrink to 25, so we had to decide and cut and argue about which ones are very important to put. And then the very early material was recorded in analog with tapes, and so we don't have the files for example, the violins or the keyboards for those records, so we kind of had to re-record them, and so go back, listen to the notes and see, this was this, and then put it back in a new version. And then we had like 4 or 5 songs that we never played before, so we had to rearrange them and practice them. And the drummer and the guitar player, recently joined the band like a few years ago, and so they're not familiar with the material from 20 years ago, and so they had to learn them from scratch and practice, and it's been a lot of work, and between that and the book, it was tougher than make a new album, because it was more of a hard job than do that. Even the book was a lot of work, and correct all the phrases, cut this, cut that, this you can say, this you can't say, there's always something you have to adjust, and so it's been, in the end the result was great. Like I think we got 2 really good products, both the DVD from the show was great, and the book is great, but it took a lot out of you, at least a year of work just to make them happen. And we're really proud of the result. And for maybe also doing those for the very first time, we kind of stop and look back at the 20 years of career. Before that, maybe we just did album tours, then a little break, then album tours. So we never really stop and think, we've done this, we've done that, this has changed, this is the same. Now, after this experience, we, for the first time, look back, and maybe then we decided to move forward with Black Anima in a new sort of chapter.
So congratulations to that, and I think you're going to have a great tour.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're going to be back in Europe in October and November, so check out the tour dates on lacunacoil.com. And
November, December.
October
we'll still be in the
October,
States
so,
because we have a North American
we
Canadian
start
tour
beginning of
coming.
November, yeah.
Okay.
We're already starting to get confused with tours, so
So check out.
Yeah.
musician's life.